Why do men not understand hints?
Modern woman so upset that men won't understand our hints. Guys, if you are here for some coffee, subscribe for more.
Hey, does anybody want coffee? Who wants coffee? I just made a fresh pot of coffee. Does anybody want coffee?
Take money. Take money. Why do men not understand hints? Why do I have to spell everything out? Why can't you just one simple little hinting at this? And what I'm trying to say, I don't want to have to spell everything out like I'm your mother.
Because hints are for playing games. The nails are the biggest red flag. Hint. I got it. They say good communication is key to a long-lasting relationship. Hints are not communication.
Why do men not understand hints? Why do I have to spell?
You know, it's pretty amazing how so many women want to say that men are terrible at communicating, they are terrible at listening, and all that. But meanwhile, you want men to literally read your goddamn mind instead of just saying what is on your mind. Like, don't show me a picture of an elephant and then expect me to know that you want to go get tacos for dinner tonight. So you have to be very direct in your line of communications for us to understand it. Also, we will help you do the dishes, but we will never want to do the dishes. That's who wants to do dishes? That's crazy.
Why do men not understand hints?
You know, I haven't passed math with higher than a C since like 5th grade, and you expect me to get hints? That's a lot you expecting out of me, bruh.
Why do men not understand hints? Why do I have to spell everything?
Why do women have to drop hints like we're playing a game of Clue in real life that we're unaware of?
Why do men not understand hints?
Hints. Why give hints? Would not the best solution just to be direct about what one wants so that there's no possibility for confusion instead of beating around the bush, being indirect, and somehow magically expecting a man to be able to read one's mind? Serious question. Is the yelling helping at all? Is it helping to convey what one wants? Or is it just showing that one is frustrated and is unable to communicate effectively?
Logic mind that every man has doesn't help so much with the hints. So if you are always dropping hints and not communicating directly, you find that there will have so many miscommunications because of the logic mind that every man has. So you have to say something at the end of the day. Say something. There are certain things, yes, you have to drop hints. Maybe if we're trying to get in the bedroom and all that, like maybe it's the first time, or maybe we are friends, you want to let me know that, oh no, it's okay for me to get some. But as far as a relationship for it to function, you can't always work with hints. It's not a magician.
You understand what I'm trying to say? I don't want to have to spell everything out like I'm your mother.
Why do you not want to be direct?
It's a long story and a layered situation, but I'm going to start off with saying this. After you get it wrong for so many times, you get desperate to get it right. And by right, doesn't mean perfect, but it does mean I am going to try my best and do the opposite of what I did before. The reason why it's a long layered situation for me is because in my last relationship, with all the trauma and examples that I'm not going to give because I realize people are super nosy, but I'll say that I used to be very, very direct. And then it was always, why are you so direct, right? So if anybody's ever been in a relationship where, you know, this person gaslights you, whatever, I lost my voice. Not my physical voice, but just the ability to understand that my words and my thoughts were going to be heard, received, and, you know, validated, whatever. Fast forward, again, when you do it wrong, you want to get it right.
You're goddamn right.
So after realizing that I am not going to allow that person to dictate how I move and going forward, and after therapy and things like that, learning or relearning how to use my voice and find my voice, it's most beneficial to be direct. As a woman, yes, we get frustrated because it's like we're nurturers by nature, And so we want people to take the same considerations that we would. But you understand that everybody is not like you. Everybody does not have the same construct as you. They didn't have the same experiences, etc. So what I've learned after getting it right and wrong, in therapy, out of therapy, wanting to have meaningful connections with people, is to say it. Even though sometimes I'll still get hung up on my words. I might be like, because I'm trying to, find the most respectful way to say certain things.
Say it in the most respectful way. If you're gonna be direct about certain things, be direct in the most respectful way. That's all.
Men, have you ever totally misinterpreted a hint from a girl you were attracted to? So a couple semesters back I had a number of classes with this girl, and ended up working on a lab together. Found out her apartment complex was across the street from mine. We became friends and started studying together and hanging out. We were just friends. I was pursuing a different person from one of the classes we had together, and she was super into my roommate, and almost regularly asked if I could help her get together with him. He wasn't interested though. Eventually she dropped it. Early in the friendship, she would randomly talk about honkers or bae. Not in an intimate way, however. At the time, she was getting ready for a 5K run and invited me to join her. I agreed if nothing else to get some exercise, and I made some joke about how since I put on some weight I might need a sports bra. And she started talking about how one wasn't always enough, she has monstrous honkers, and how running without one can hurt. Stuff like that. Anyway, as time went on, I was noticing I was touching her luscious lumps a lot, not on purpose mind you, but like at one point we were watching TV, I was sitting on her right, I asked for the remote because whatever was on was something brain dead and I wanted to change the channel. She was offering it with her left that she had in front of her chest. When I went to grab it she moved her hand away, and as you guess I got a handful. I managed to get a little squeeze in before I pulled my hand away and apologized. And she didn't even acknowledge it happened. I figured she was just so caught up in playing keep away with the remote she hadn't noticed, or in the very least realized it was her fault and wanted to drop the whole thing. Either way, it started happening often and I told myself it must be a downside of big honkers, they accidentally touch everything. But then it started being more and more deliberate. Like she was learning to play the guitar, she brought it over so she could go to practice afterwards. At this point we weren't in the same class anymore, but we still studied together because my minor is her major and she would help with my more simplistic version of what she was learning. So after tutoring me essentially, she put on her guitar, she had a chest strap for it, and decided it was hanging kinda low. She decided the best course of action was to hold the guitar in the position she wants it while I tighten the strap, conveniently resting on her honkers. At this point I'm thinking there's no way it's an accident. My conclusion was maybe she was interested in me. It didn't work out with the other girl, and having a large chest was enough to get guys, so maybe she never learned another flirting techniques outside honkers. Several other people felt it was a reasonable enough explanation. I liked her well enough so I went for it. She told me she'd go on a friend date with me, but she had a huge crush on the guitar instructor, another student doing a side hustle, and wasn't really into me. At this point I'm confused, but whatever, maybe she felt bad for me so was low-key giving me some honker to make me happy. But at the same time she was talking about honkers a lot more. Like she'd come over complain about her womanhood making it uncomfortable and so she had to adjust and etc. Some days it was all we talked about. Or one day we were hanging out and she just starts rubbing her honkers acting like it's the most normal thing. I asked her if she wants some privacy, and she apologized and said she's on her period and the hormones makes her honkers hurt and so she runs them to make them feel better, and I don't mind, right? It got old fast. So it got to a point where it was just uncomfortable to be around her. I enjoyed her company, she was really smart and great to talk to generally, but at some point her massive honkers would be thrust upon me and a nice conversation about said honkers leaving me feeling skeevy. No one has any clue what her deal is, so I decide to ask her. So we met up today and I was greeted with a thrilling story of how hard her nips got in the lab. It's just too cold. And so I asked her something along the lines of not to embarrass you or anything, but I noticed you always seem to find a way to put your honkers on me, and you always talk about them or your womanhood. You said you aren't interested in me and I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. Admittedly I was nervous, so it most definitely wasn't as thought out as that, but that's the basic gist. She said she hadn't noticed that was happening and she was sorry and thought I liked when we talked about honkers and stuff. She said she'd be more careful and we hung out a little bit, but she found some excuse and left pretty soon after. I figured I embarrassed her and she wanted to be alone, so thought nothing of it. Well, a few hours later I get a text from her, telling me I'm a disgusting honker-obsessed weirdo. The only reason I pretended to care about her was to bed her. Her mom thinks she should get a restraining order. Her roommate feels like she should report me for a myriad of things, but out of respect for our once friendship she's just going to block me on everything and cut me out of her life. To add insult to injury, my roommate bumped into her and told me she said she couldn't be my friend anymore because I'm too weird.
Oh, sorry it happened that way, and I think you embarrassed her. And the only way that she can was just to get in a defensive mode. In the defensive mode was to play victim, that, oh no, you are the weird one who's obsessed with her, you know? Sorry it happened like that, but it's nature.
Ladies, I cannot stress this enough. Guys have no clue when you're hitting on them. They're not playing dumb. They genuinely don't see it. Trust me, the only people picking up your hints are the other ladies in the room watching him fumble. So, idea, because low-key men and women do still want to date each other, what if we start helping each other out? Ladies, start telling guys when girls are hitting on them. Better yet, start telling guys when you're hitting on them. Think of all the missed opportunities. And you can really make it that simple. You can straight up tell a guy, just so you know, I've been hitting on you this entire time, and he will be like, me? Or like, bro, she was definitely hitting on you. For the whole rest of this week, dude's gonna be like, if you see something, say something.
Oh, you know what? Almost every man is able to get when the girl is hitting on him. The problem is when you're doing it in your head, you know? Because the way you talk and the way you act, you'll be able to know, like, oh, she's hitting on me, you know? But, like, if you're doing it in your head, your dululu is just all up in your head there, your thoughts, how is he going to know? So sometimes you should also check that to make sure that, oh, you're actually hitting on him. It's not just your mind that's playing tricks on you. I'm just saying here, guys.